संसार समुद्रतार नौकायिताभ्यां गुरु.
Today is World Yoga Day. We have with us a towering personality who has been described as a yogi, a mystic, a visionary, and a realized man of our times. A successful entrepreneur turned interpreter who interprets the very meaning of life and its various aspects in very simple terms. His name is Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. Those close to him affectionately calls him Sadhguru. He is the founder of Isha Foundation, a non-profit charitable organization that has its activities spread across the globe, actively involved in education, alleviating poverty, and touching the lives of millions of people through yoga. On behalf of Kerala Kaumudy, the people of Kerala and Malayali-speaking people around the world, we thank you for giving us this opportunity and time. Sadhguruji, yoga is probably one of the biggest contributions that India has made to the world. But today, if I ask 10 yoga teachers about yoga, I get 10 different descriptions and often contradictory ones. Could you give us a basic, your take on yoga?
If there is a genuine exploration, then how many yogas are there? I must tell you a certain situation that happened. You okay for a story?
Definitely.
When Adiyogi was expounding the science of yoga to his 7 disciples, who are today celebrated as the Saptarishis, he told them there are 112 ways. When he said there are 112, Parvati, his wife, who was a witness to this, she said, why can't there be more? He was dismissive because he was focused on what he was talking. He said, no, there are only 112. But she is a woman, she wants variety. So she said, there could be more, maybe you know only 112. I will find it. He said, go, find it. So she went into profound austerities and sadhana for a period of time. Then she came back. He was still talking to these 7 disciples after many years. She came and sat 1 step below him. She's his wife, she could sit next to him, but she sat below him. This is a language between the 2 of them. She doesn't want the disciples to know. So, she's telling him she has failed. Then he looked at her and he said, if you are using the limitations of your physical existence, there are only 112. But if you transcend the limitations of your physicality, how many atoms there are in this universe? That many ways are there. So, if people have genuinely explored many dimensions of yoga, it's fantastic. But if people are coming up with contrived notions of their own because they want to leave their footprint, then that's very tragic, which may be the case today with lots of people, but not necessarily everybody. When we talk about Yoga Sutras, Yoga Sutra means it's the thread. Now to make this garland you need thread. Without thread there cannot be a garland. At the same time, nobody ever wears a garland for its thread. So depending upon the competence of the person who handles the thread at a given time, he may add beads, he may add pearls, he may add diamonds, or he may add flowers. In the order of things, I'm putting flowers above diamonds, I want you to notice that. Because those things are valuable only in the marketplace, they have no value in terms of life. So, depending upon what an individual person has realized, accordingly he can make a garland and offer it to people. But the sutra or the thread itself will not change. So as long as you have got the grasp of the sutras and you add what you add to that sutra, it's perfectly fine.
You can make your own garland.
Yes, of course. So yoga is not a unidimensional like a method. It is a multi-dimensional method. You can evolve and render yoga in many ways. Initially when I thought this Isha Yoga as it's known today, there are days where that time the program used to be 14 days. Entire 14 days, I only spoke flowers or butterflies or motorcycles and nothing else. Even motorcycles, something as mechanical as that. I'm saying everything can be used as a way to break the limitations of who you are. Yoga essentially means, in some way, yoga means union. So that means in some way, you erase the boundaries of your individuality. You can do it by dancing, you can do it by singing, you can do it by whatever.
Yeah.
It is just that if you have the grasp of the fundamental, you can do it in every way possible. So, I'm disappointed, you encountered only 10 ways. I would like you to encounter 1,000,000 ways of doing it.
No, I said 10 teachers.
So there's no problem with variety.
Okay.
Only thing is, if without the knowing the fundamental, just people are coming up with things just to leave their mark.
Okay.
Those who want to leave their footprints, they must understand, if you are very focused on leaving a footprint, you shall never fly.
Now, June 21st is World Yoga Day as defined by UN. I think this is the first time UN has unanimously voted on having a day of this significance. How significant do you think this gesture from the UN is?
One thing is the day itself is significant because it is summer solstice.
Okay.
Summer solstice means the relationship of the planet with the sun, which is the main source of energy and it's the fulcrum of our life. People don't understand this.
Yeah.
It is a very fulcrum of our life, it is the basis of everything that is energetic on this planet. The relationship between the two will change because it shifts from northern run to southern run, from Uttarayana to Dakshinayana, this shift is happening. When such a significant shift happens in the life of the planet, a similar shift happens in human body also. Because you may have grand ideas about yourself, but you're just a pop-up on this planet and you will pop out. The soil is patiently waiting.
Yeah.
You're just a small pop-up. So whatever happens to the planet happens to you. If you're conscious, you will know. If you're unconscious, you do not know. So every yogi goes through a certain shift within themselves consciously when this shift happens. It is just after this day, the first full moon day that came after this day is what is called as Guru Purnima because that is the day Adi Yogi decided to teach, the first Guru was born. Why is it so significant is, this is the first time in the history of humanity that human beings were made conscious that if you are willing to strive, you can transcend all so-called limitations of nature upon yourself. Whatever limitations that nature has set upon your physical existence can be transcended if you are willing to strive. If you're willing to strive, you can evolve. This idea for the first time was put into human consciousness on this day. So this day is very significant because it opened up a new possibility. People need not believe, this is how I am. Whichever way you are right now, it doesn't matter. If you are willing to strive, there is a possibility that you can hit the peak of your existence.
You are the primary speaker on at the UN. I don't know if it's too early, but what would be your message on that day to the world?
My message is never planned, I have to look at the people. But anyway, in this audience, we know who the people are. The ambassadors of various nations, the general secretary,
world leaders,
secretary general, all these people are there. So the important thing that they need to know is, politically, in various other ways, we are trying to integrate the world. This is the effort of the United Nations.
Yeah.
Well, people can question how successful or not, but this is the fundamental effort.
Yeah.
In this effort of integrating humanity on the planet, beyond nationality, beyond race, beyond religion, beyond all kinds of ethnic and other kinds of divisions that we have come up with, beyond all this, if you have to integrate, one fundamental thing that needs to happen is a human being needs to experience that I am something more than this body. I am something more than my mental structure. My physiological structure and my psychological structure is my own making. There is another way to experience life beyond this. If this experience is brought to the world, integration of all human beings, not just of human beings, of all life upon this planet will happen effectively. The variety of problems that the world is facing in terms of ecological disaster that is looming large, healthcare and health disasters, pandemics which are threatening us, and always ever-existent threat of wars between nations and other people, all these things could be greatly handled if only we made this into a large-scale experience, that this is not the experience of a few exclusive people. If this is the large-scale experience of the humanity on the planet, if this is the experience of the leadership on the planet, we would succeed in this direction much better than the way we are doing right now.
Now on that thread, you talked about body and us, me. Now, what is ego, or what does ego have to play in that?
You have a ego?
I haven't seen it, I haven't experienced it.
Then why do you believe it?
I'm not believing it, I'm asking you a question from what I've read.
No, you're asking what is something and you don't even know whether it exists or not. You ask me what is ting-tong, what am I supposed to say? I'd say ting-tong doesn't exist. Now, ego is a fall guy in everybody's life.
Okay.
When they do nice things, they say, I did it. When they do nasty things, they will say, Mr. Ego did it. That means you have two people inside of you. If there is more than one within you right now, it means you're either schizophrenic or you're possessed. You need either a psychiatrist or a exorcist because there is only one person.
Okay.
If you understand you're an individual means not further divisible. If you divide this further, you will become sick. You may think you're becoming spiritual, but you're actually becoming sick because this is an individual, you cannot further divide this. If you understand this is me, it is me, this me in one moment able to act in such a phenomenal way, in such a grand way, in the next moment in a horrible way, it's the same me. If I understand this, a natural transformation begins. Okay. If you think whenever I do nasty things, it's that guy, this guy will never get fixed.
Okay. Now, about governance, about governments. We have seen different kinds of governance, from king to tribal leaders to monarchs to, I think, the most popular way of governance these days is democracy. Do you see something better than that, or do you… where does this…
See, democracy may not be the greatest way to govern.
Okay.
But the relief is every 5 years you can get rid of them.
Or keep them if they are good.
Yes. If they are not satisfactory, we can get rid of them. If they are, we can keep them. I'm saying at least we have a choice.
Okay.
With all the other systems we have seen till now, you did not have a choice. Sometimes some kings did fabulously well, some became tyrants.
Yeah.
All kinds we have seen.
Yeah.
Not all of them were bad, many of them did wonderfully well.
Okay.
All right? Even many dictators have done well, but you can't bank on it because you don't know who will come next. But at least here, you have to suffer them only for 5 years.
Okay.
So, this is a sure way that you can keep them on their toes because they're going to get fired in 5 years' time. At the same time, it has its problems because they know their term is only for 5 years, you also see a certain level of irresponsibility. I think if we want to be a successful democracy, we need much more education on the ground.
Okay.
That means people should vote on as per their individual choice. Who you vote for must be your choice. Who your wife votes for should be her choice. You don't have to have any say in who she votes for. But right now, on the basis of caste, religion and other kinds of ethnic identities, people are voting en masse. Once you do mass voting, then there is no democracy. It is feudalistic society pretending to be democratic. People come and ask me, Sadhguru, whom should I vote for? I said, I will never tell you. You vote for whoever you want. Because the moment I tell you, and if 1,000,000 people vote for what I say, now there is no more democracy. This is the biggest problem. We have to raise this democracy to a place where every individual will vote according to his intelligence or her intelligence, not because they belong to a particular group. I'm saying right now, for example, in United States of America, I am a Democrat or I am a Republican is almost like a religion. It's pre-decided who I will vote to. There should be no pre-decision. Every time we should be willing to consider, whom do I vote for now? A committed vote is not democracy. A considered vote is democracy. We have to bring that.
Now moving on to a different plane. Buddha is said to have got enlightenment under the Bodhi tree.
Don't look for a tree, there are not enough trees. I am planting now so that the next generation will have an office for enlightenment.
So my question is, like in recent times, scientists have said that they have made great breakthroughs in science through insights. They held the question long enough in their mind and they got the solution, then they work out the theory or the physics behind it. Now, are these two comparable or…
From an age of dogma, we have moved to an age of information right now. We are little excited about information right now, but in the next 10-15 years you will see people will get bored of information. People will get burdened by information. We have to move from the age of information to age of insight. If we have to move into an age of insight, we must learn to activate other dimensions of intelligence within us. When I say other dimensions of intelligence within you, right now our education systems have a very constipated approach towards the human being. The entire education system is information-based and intellect-based. We are beginning to think intellect is the only form of intelligence we have. Intellect is a way of dissecting the world. This is useful to know certain aspects of life, but you cannot know someone by dissecting them. You will know only by including them. Intellect is not capable of this. Intellect can only dissect and divide. That is one dimension of intelligence. There are other dimensions of intelligence. In the yogic way of looking at things, we look at human mind as 16 parts and 4 segments. These 4 segments are buddhi, ahankara, manas and chitta. There is a dimension of intelligence which is free of memory, unsullied by memory. When I say unsullied by memory, no information, it's just pure intelligence. If you don't touch that dimension, you will not be above your times. You will always be a product of your times. When I say the product of your times, you will only mix and match in permutations and combinations of the information that is already there. This is called innovation, this is called jugaad in India. You are coming up with new things simply by mixing things. You can make with the same batter, you can make dosa, you can make idli, you can make appam, you can make something, but essentially once it goes inside, it's all the same thing. But if you want to produce something new, you need to touch another dimension of intelligence within you. There are many ways to talk about this intelligence, but the simplest way to look at it is, what did you have for breakfast?
I had…
They didn't serve
fruits.
you pottu?
No. Pongal rice.
And fruits?
And boiled peanuts.
Groundnut?
Steamed.
Groundnut.
Groundnuts,
So, you eat groundnut. Over the morning, this groundnut becomes human body. There is an intelligence within you which can transform a nut into a human being. Maybe more nuts, that's different, but but even if you eat a banana, it becomes a human being.
Yeah.
So there is an intelligence like that within you. This will not come from intellect. Intellectually, can you transform a banana into a human being?
Can I ask if it's a mechanism or is it intellect? The transformation part.
Without a certain dimension of intelligence involved, can a banana become a human being? Are you genetically connected to a banana, I'm asking? By eating a lot of bananas in Kerala, you don't go bananas.
Okay.
You still remain a human being. What is that big banana in Kerala? What is that?
Ethika.
What's it called, huh? Nendram. Nendrapalam. Okay. You're eating banana in everything, but it still becomes a human being because there's an intelligence here which knows this is what it should do with it. If a cow eats a banana, it becomes only a cow. If a man eats a banana, it becomes a man. If a woman eats a banana, it becomes a woman, because there is a certain dimension of memory and intelligence in every cell in your body.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this cannot be done.
Yeah.
So, right now, you are capable of transforming a banana or a papaya into a human being. Only thing is you're not able to do it consciously. If you could consciously touch this dimension of intelligence, even if a drop of this intelligence became a conscious process for you, then your insight into the existence would be tremendous. Right now, our education system is destroying all insight, only intellect and information, because intellect cannot function without information. If you take off your memory, you may look like a very great intellectual, but if I take off your memory, suddenly you look like a fool. Without the backing of memory, you will not be intelligent. But the nature of the intelligence is such, it does not need any memory. This is called chitta. No memory in this, it's just pure intelligence that makes all life happen. To make that into a conscious process, people might have done it in so many different ways, in certain moments they might have touched it. But here in yoga, we are talking about how to consciously be able to touch it. Many human beings have touched it and they've achieved incredible things in certain moments, but that has happened unconsciously or because of the sheer intensity of a certain activity. They might have touched it. But we can also touch it consciously. We have a method. In a methodical way, you can touch it. You can have a system through which you can touch it. If you touch this dimension, you become insightful. Insightful means you are beyond the information that you have right now. That means you are ahead of the age. That means you will be persecuted. Because nobody likes… fools don't like somebody going ahead in anything.
Even something we can't recognize.
You have heard about the Kerala crabs?
Yeah, I know.
Like that.
Yeah. Can this be called enlightenment?
No.
No.
This is just insight.
Okay. So, what is enlightenment?
Light essentially means, in human understanding, if I say I will throw light upon something, what it means is I will make you see it. Because visually we made in such a way, without light we cannot see. So the word enlightenment comes from this, that so much that you could not see, suddenly you saw. A complementary word for that is also self-realization. We said self-realization, not self-attainment, not an accomplishment. It is just realization. Realization means something that was always here and I did not see. Today I saw. You can only realize what is there. You cannot realize something which is not there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is not an achievement, it is not an attainment, it is not some kind of climbing the peak. It is just that you suddenly realized you were so stupid that what was around you all your life you did not see, just today you saw. When you start seeing simple things, other people say you're enlightened.
Okay.
Marashi Nisha Karabhyam Dharma Kedava